All right, Dr. Bolton. So I got a question for you. So I just got to the end of the book. They were her property.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the book, it stated that white women begun to enter a state of poverty once they released slaves due to white women having the expectation of, just regular slaves still serving them, in which they weren't willing to compensate them or, pay them for the services and stuff like that, which led white women into creating jobs that serve the communities that was previously serving them.
Say that again.
All right. So,
Write
so
that
ba-
Yeah.
all right. Basically, white women got into a point of poverty once they released the slaves. So all of their property is gone at this point, right? So at the end of the book, it stated that white women basically ended up having to service slaves due to the fact that they basically create businesses where they had to actually pay them, so they ended up in service of the slaves that were previously in service of them. And I was like, wow, I can play the part.
I'm as historians, we do two things. We make historical assessments that are new to add to the conversation of history. And sometimes we have to make a jump where there's information here, but there's no information to connect them. So we make an intellectual jump. Based on my research here and my research here, I don't have any information here, so I'm going to knowingly and openly make my assessment into how I'm connecting the two. I believe what she was communicating was white women then moved into public sector work. And the public sector work many times serviced broad members of the public. Hence, they ended up serving black folks because black folks were taking advantage of public services because they were impoverished. So it, in a way, made that appear as though when I lost the slaves, I then had to work the industries that were accepting white women, because you got to understand, white women have not always had equality in this country. The few opportunities I had was either domestic or working in these public service positions. I dare say the hateful Southern woman was not that woman working to help black folks. That wasn't part of Jim Crow. That wasn't part of segregation. That wasn't part of convict leasing. There was always a portion of white women that did public service. And that may have increased in white employment the broader that got, but Southern white people in Southern culture stayed dramatically hateful toward black people. I mean, violently hateful. And the thing about white supremacy is the door swung both ways. If you were seen as being kind to black people, you were a target for white supremacy groups. So it is very unlikely that the Klansman's wife was working for black people because the slaves got freed, which is a way that you can misinterpret her statement.
So, her statement was she began, which, like I said, I could play it. said that certain white women began doing stuff like sewing dresses for black people. Basically, they created businesses that cater to black people, which will make them, come back by. So that's what I think she meant as far as like maybe service, because once they freed the slaves, apparently the slaves wasn't willing to work under certain conditions. They wanted compensation. So at that point, they began to, draw back.
I think in the desire to make a an introductory point, I think she probably stretched something. Yes, there were people that said, we gonna sell, they got the whites only pies, if y'all ever saw Life,
Yeah.
up front, but if you want a piece of pie, you gotta go around the back to get it. Yeah, with some people who was willing to take that black money because, they didn't have a lot, but it wasn't, I'm working for you. Even when I took your money, I degraded you. We couldn't sit at the lunch. This is way into the 60s. They talking about in the Reconstruction. I'm talking in the 19th century, 1900s, in the 20th century even, that there was, just because we made money off of the black community, that's today. I was just telling you about Fox News. Just because we make money off black people doesn't mean I'm servicing the black community or I'm in service to the black community. They still degraded black people. When they wanted to see you perform, you had to come through the back door to perform for them because white people came through the front. You couldn't come to the front. So it was for over 100 years after the end of chattel slavery, there were social codes that extracted money out of the black community, but still kept social codes in place to demean them. It wasn't a sense of service to them. How she stated it was kind of like they flipped.
It was working for black folks.
Right, like black folks came up and now you working for the black. But no, that's not really what it was. If you had enough money for a dress, I would sell you one, but you couldn't try it on. Because the white person can't put on the dress after you done tried it on. See, all those things existed, And if you bought it, you take it home, you can't bring it back because you probably tried it on. So, that's one of those arguments that, and I have some in my work. I have some that people say, I don't see that jump, and I have to argue the jump, but I can see how they can say, well, no. But that's the point of scholarship, is to where you want to add something new to the conversation. If I keep repeating what Joel agrees with and what you agree with, okay, well, what's new? So, yeah, I think she was probably making a jump or an assumption that was risky, but that's what it's all about. It's all about being. Picasso said that every child is an artist. It's just maintaining your integrity into adulthood. But people, that don't look like a dog, or that don't look like a this or that, and then people stop drawing. People stop. Kids are not afraid to be wrong. And that is really the core of scholarship. That, okay, I might be wrong, but let's think about it. Let's try it. And that's why when you're teaching little kids, you can see some of the most beauty in the human intellect, because anything is possible to a kid. You can be green with 9 fingers and it's a great drawing, So that's kind of my answer to that. I can see loosely how she could make that assessment, but there's a whole lot of historic accounts that diminishes that particular argument. It's a great book though, but that particular argument.
Okay, that was it. That's all I had. You got something?
I want to ask you about Morehouse.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So they just gave your boy Joe Biden honorary degree.
Oh Lord.
What do you think about HBCU giving the white dude who locked up black people honorary?
Now, I know a gentleman who is a Morehouse graduate. He is a Morehouse professor.
Oh, we gotta get him on the phone.
You can.
On
It's my
podcast.
dude. He's my mentor when I was in the NBA. Has not gotten tenure, underpaid, dare say underrespected. And for that school, a school that has dedicated itself to black male excellence, to award a degree to a person who has dedicated the majority of his life, and he's old,
Real old.
to the destruction of not just the black community, but black men in particular. And this is something he apologized for. So this is not like, oh, I'm just saying my opinion. He said, yeah, I did that, my bad. Yeah. It shows how horribly our HBCUs understand politics, how horribly they are run. I have had interactions with Morehouse that I have called their school and their departments numerous times. No one answers the phone. No one calls you back. I have had young people trying to attend HBCUs. Their websites are inadequate. And when you call, they tell you the answer is on the internet. Now, I called you.
Because I couldn't find the answer on there.
And you tell me to look on the internet instead of, and this is not just one HBCU that functions like this. And we done heard the whole Deion Sanders story and the other professional athletes that tried to function at HBCUs and couldn't because they are run so poorly. I think our HBCUs have become more about black bourgeoisie, fancy black folks, upper crust black folks, with degrees, feeling important than it is about developing the future. When's the last time you heard of an HBCU in front of a civil issue? When's the last time you heard of an HBCU involved in a protest? When I dare say, I don't remember hearing anything about the Divine Nine or HBCU during the George Floyd protests. There may have been some stuff going on in their campuses, but what was Tuskegee doing? What was Fisk doing? What was Howard doing? What was Morehouse doing? Morehouse, the administration, the body, what were they doing? Not the students. Students kicking butt. I have found our HBCUs horribly disappointed. People are graduating from the schools and don't even know the history of the schools. Into bootlick may be a too strong of a term, but check Joe Biden's resume before you get. Why does he need the doctorate?
Why is, that's what I was trying to figure out. What's he need a degree
We
for?
get-
He gonna
we
start
get-
applying for jobs?
You got people that graduated from your university that is serving your university that you are underpaying and underappreciating. But you are not only going to give a politician your highest honor, you're going to give a politician whose politics has been counter to your historic mission. And you are going to wonder why enrollment's down? You're going to wonder why funding's down? How much of your soul are you going to sell? What happened to the day where Morehouse could say, we want you to come out and answer some questions about your lifetime of voting up until Barack Obama? Where's Kamala Harris? Did you do something with her? APB?
That would have been one of the first questions I asked. Like, bro, what happened to our student loans not being forgiven? Y'all already know I was gonna bring that up. What happened to these motherfucking student loans not forgiven?
Yeah.
Like, bro, you get promised a lot of shit that you have not paid. Like,
So when he was doing
no.
his speech, some of the students turned their backs. Like they got up, turned their backs, and like I ain't feeling listen to him. Why you?
I wish they would have got up and left.
yeah.
But I got something for y'all. Because you all don't follow black scholars, which is disappointing.
That's
I
cap.
want you all.
We follow you.
True that! I keep forgetting I'm a scholar. Give me some.
Trying to
I,
tell you.
I forgot I am I'm a scholar. You know what? I stand corrected. But I need y'all to follow some folks other than me. Mark Lamont Hill. Everybody needs to follow this.
I love Dr. Umar. Other than his gay politics, I like everything else.
You
Go
know
ahead.
what?
Go ahead, Mark on my head. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was really gonna get into Dr. Umar. Would you please make sure I go back to Dr. Umar? Because Dr. Umar is like that cousin that y'all can talk on the phone, but you will not let him say the blessing at Thanksgiving. And the whole family there. Bro, okay. So scholarship, we're gonna put a pin in that because he was one of the people that I heard in modern times really throw that word scholar. Scholarship has a very particular definition, and I know it's gonna be 1,000 folks, so all that's not what the definition is. A scholar is not the same as a brilliant person or a smart person, because Dr. Umar Johnson is both of those easily. A scholar is a person who does original and creative research, presents the work, but very specifically about this, functions in a peer-reviewed network, okay? For you to get a scholarly book published is not like getting a regular book published. Okay? A academic press sends it to a certain number of scholars in your area for them to give a go for your book to make it. Whereas popular books just goes to the editor. If the editor likes it, it goes out. So that peer review is very important. When you go and present your work orally, there are people out there that gets up and asks questions and debates. That's a peer review. Your peers are reviewing your work, so by the time it goes out to the public, it's been tested. Dr. Umar may do that as a psychologist. I've not heard him talk about the peer review process. So when we talk about scholars, some people are political pundits, which is not the same thing as a scholar. Just because you have a doctorate, which I thought at one time, oh, you got a doctorate, you're a scholar. No. Do I function within that peer review where I am interacting with my peers? That's the heart and soul of scholarship. Now, some people say scholarship is how you approach academia. But that's where I would differ with Dr. Umar being a scholar. But the question for you all actually came, see, I stayed on topic, with Mark Lamont Hill. And we are now in 2024. And in 2020, George Floyd, and it became popular for all these white companies to pledge this money to the black community. We're about
I ain't get it.
$200 million in arrears. People have pledged this money and they haven't been, and they said that a lot of that money was pledged by white male-led corporations. This money has never been fulfilled. These pledges have never been fulfilled. What should be done about that?
I mean, shit, technically the U.S. never fulfilled their promise. So, anything related to the black community, there's a lot of different people who has failed to, make good on the promises that they promised us. But what should be done? Hell, whoever they said that they're going to give it to, a corporation, well, I don't know who they would give it to, charities or whatever the case may be. You say you're going to give it to our community. I don't even know what that would look like because I don't think we have a system or a structure set up for that. Like, let's say if we had some type of system or structure set up. One company say, hey, I'm going to give $100 million. Then we issue it out to every black person. Okay, cool. We invest in community centers, revamping black neighborhoods, putting money into HBCUs so they do have the resources to compete on the same level as PWIs. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what should be done. But if you say you was gonna do it at this point, I think they should. But
call them out.
What you say? Is it possible? Yes.
It may be possible.
Is it probable? No. They ain't giving us that money.
But we should at least call them out that hey, these liars over here.
Yeah,
we should know who the liars are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start with the U.S. Where the fuck is our 40 acres and a mule? Where the hell is our reparations? Then, hey, whatever company said that they was gonna give us X, I need my money on the first, not the third. I need my money on the first. That's some rent, dude.
They don't give it to you in 14 business days. With tax. What did they promise? Like, how much money did they promise? How much? What did they?
With the particular conversation they were having, who Dr. Mark Lamont Hill was into, the gentleman he was interviewing, they were talking about a total of $200 million. And I don't see why this is such a big problem. This didn't happen in 1867. This happened 4 years ago. We had the internet. Let's put a collage together like they did Joe Rogan when he said nigga, let's get a collage of every person that said what they were gonna give, and let's play it just like we could do it for R. Kelly. Let's get surviving white male-led companies that said they was gonna give black folks money. 40 acres and a mule squared. That's the name of it. I just came up with it. If somebody used that, I want my royalties. Yeah, 40 acres and a mule squared. Let's put it on primetime TV, cable, Tubi, Netflix, and just show these people that said they were going to do this and say, where is it? I think we
request
should
interviews. And they
let's
so
call
denied
it
another interview.
interview.
Let's set up. Make a statement.
Let's set up a protest, or what? Not protest. What is it when you stop buying stuff from them? Whatever.
Boycott.
Boycott.
Yeah.
Boycott. Boycott the companies. Don't buy from them. We are a $7 trillion people, just American blacks. $7 trillion catches America's attention. We haven't gotten anything from voting. We haven't. But when we quit riding them buses, boy, they started fixing some stuff, didn't they?
Yeah. So I mean, what does that look like though? What would we have to boycott for us to get the things that we've been asking for years at this point? Because I don't even think the things that we're asking for is like crazy.
To be honest with you, this is the problem, because some people say that they feel I don't air what black people's responsibility is enough. It's some black people that comment on my page that I'm assuming are black. I don't like check their ID to see if they're black, but they say I don't see. If in Pan-Africanism, the American black people are looked at differently than any other member of the diaspora, because we are the only group of the diaspora that have the funds to fix our problem. To be honest, and I know somebody is going to try to take this information and use it for their talking point. If black people boycotted the industries that do not support them,
That's every industry.
we would have our reparations.
Okay, so you gonna start it, Dr. Buffy?
Well, that's the problem.
I mean, he boycotts everything that he don't like. He ain't watched the NFL in like 100 years.
Well, I'm with you. I don't watch the NFL.
Well,
either.
You ain't boycotting. You just don't watch it.
Right. That's the different thing.
Stop
but
watching the WNBA.
Why would you do that?
Because they said
Why would
they
you
ain't
do
donate. They ain't donate no money to George Floyd. And
They ain't have no money.
They
They
gave
just
Biden the honorary basketball. Boycott.
Joe, you can't be our speaker.
I got something to say. Cut the mic. Cut the mic.
Yeah, I'm just saying. There is a degree of it is very hard to tell people to live their life according to the passions of somebody else. In a lot of American history, black folks never really have fought for equality. We really didn't fight as a whole. There was some, but the rule is that black people fought, or black people will fight, for a better seat at someone else's table rather than to have our own table. So to see that in modern history, to see NFL owners say, we don't like you, we just want your money. And black folks still buy the tickets, still go to the game, still doing the halftime show. They hire Jay-Z and all of the entertainers go back. No black ownership, no new black coaches, none of the changes. And where did this come from? That no matter what the atrocity, that all white people have to do is say, I'm sorry, and black folks are like, cool. I point that out to people that voted for Joe Biden. He admitted he did us. Well, he said he's sorry.
And he said, if you
Did he
ain't
let
black,
anybody out?
You ain't black.
Did he let anybody out? Well, how sorry are you?
I don't remember him pardoning nobody. But Trump did pardon Lil Wayne, though. He probably paid.
Kodak.
Yeah, Kodak Black, Lil Wayne. They probably paid top dollar.
But that's what I'm saying. They not as illogical as I see it is voting for Trump as it is voting for Biden. They act like Trump doesn't have any of the legislation, anti-racial legislation Biden has. Trump did pardon some black folks. But all the black folks vote for the guy who locked them up because this guy said something they didn't like. I don't get how blinding politics can be. I don't understand this incurable, insatiable need to be included by white people. And this measuring stick of white people. You say, well, black folks shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. Well, white folks do it. Is that our moral compass? The European? Their history? That's our moral compass? That's scary. I don't know about that. But I was when I heard that conversation, I thought about y'all. And I said, I wonder what they think about that. This isn't reparations. This is some folks that got up and said, oh, I'll do it. I'll volunteer to do it. This ain't something we was fighting for. These people volunteered this because it was popular to do so. And then reneged on that. I don't understand how you can say you're going to do it and somebody not calling you the next day. And my question is, why did somebody say, well, okay, you're going to do it when? Who are you going to give it to? Give me some information. Because that's how they would do us. And then 4 years later, it still ain't done. They said that a bid is only enforceable, or not a bid, but what's that called when you say I'll do it?
Donation?
A pledge.
Oh.
A pledge is only enforceable 2 or 3 years. So I'm off the hook.
He's just trying to gain popularity points, but they ain't gonna go through it.
I'm just saying, that's... So when people say, well, people are arguing against reparations. Okay, what about that? What about that? You could have split that 200 million with all of the HBCUs. So that question, well, we didn't know who to give it to. We were going to give it to Black Lives Matter, but they got in trouble. Black Lives Matter didn't get into trouble until year before last. So you had 2020, 2021,
Like they couldn't find any more black people. They did.
Right, in the whole country. You couldn't find the NAACP. You couldn't find the National Black Caucus. You couldn't find the urban leagues. You couldn't find any HBCUs. You couldn't find any majority black cities.
Or
Nothing.
just a black bank. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Open a black bank. Open a black credit union. But that's no black people are saying nothing about it.
I don't think people remember who made those promises.
We have the internet. They found a tape of Diddy in a hotel from 8 years ago. They can't find somebody getting on international TV saying, I'm going to give this
I think they
amount of
can
money.
find it, but most people aren't thinking like, oh, who said they was going to give us money? Let's go.
And that's my problem. Why aren't we thinking like that? Nothing was more important to black folks 4 years ago than liberation and equality. Now all of a sudden, we don't care. That's exactly what I told the leadership of this university when they were talking about all of what they was going to do, and I said, no, you're not. I said, historically, you all are going to do what you always done. You're going to talk big, and as soon as it dies down, you're going to push it back to normal. Oh, I hope not. That's exactly what they did. They got DEI off of this campus as soon as they could. We are in the deep South. This is not an accident. They didn't mean that stuff when George Floyd said it. They said they were doing DEI when money was being given for DEI. And as soon as the money went, so did DEI. First thing they took off this campus. And I told them they were going to do it.
So what do y'all think about, I sent y'all a video, and we're going to make this short and sweet because we got to go. Sent y'all a video last Tuesday, and it was stating that HBCUs are owed billions from the federal government, and I believe like they're refusing to pay southern states. So it goes back to, I think it's TSU. I believe it's the not the one in Texas. I believe it's the one in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. It was they went on to do an investigation and found out that they were getting state funding. However, the feds like refused to pay them, and then you wonder why HBCUs are underfunded. So they're trying to approach it like, hey, y'all owe us money, like sending them the bill. Feds basically refuse to pay.
I don't think that anybody should give good money after bad. Number one, if I'm supposed to be getting money from you, and I ain't read my books well enough for 20 years to notice it, and I'm coming back telling you about something from 20 years ago I was supposed to get, no, you slept. You don't get it. Our HBCUs have a horrible track record of how they're being run and how they're being led and how they treat their student leadership. That is systematic, and how they treat their faculty. If you don't believe me, check this. Call a HBCU tomorrow. Pick any one. See if they answer the phone. Write a letter to an HBCU and see if somebody, send an email. See if they call you back.
Don't make me do it. You know.
No.
I'm gonna call Southern.
Do it.
I'm gonna call Southern.
I'm dead serious. Give it a shot and see
I'm
what
like,
happens.
Mom, go to Southern real quick. Tell them I called.
They gonna be like, who?
My job.
Call 5 and see what percentage you get. So, honestly, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, don't be calling somebody out.
But this is a woman. This is like the president. I guess she is the president. She had just gotten to the position. But apparently, the guy who was over the books, his son is now over the books, and apparently his father Ben brought it up in the past. So it's a track record of them saying, "Hey, they're not paying us." So when the new lady got in office, she was like, "No, y'all need to start paying us." So at that point,
which would mean I had somebody within my university telling me in the bourgeoisie leadership who didn't want to get no static because they get their money from Mr. Charlie didn't say nothing. And it wasn't until he got out of the way that this new lady comes in that it gets out. But as you said, this guy daddy been there saying it for who knows how long, but the board of directors is like, yo, man, keep that. Still serves my point. How we're being run. Because I got a job with Mr. Charlie, which is how I got on the board. Hey, don't shake up the boat. We happy with them tools and fuse. So, no, I if you are not running your stuff right, please don't start talking about what the federal government ain't doing.
Sure, you should have saw the conditions of the school. Like I remember when Dion brought up from Jackson State, he was just like, a high school in Texas looks better than this damn university. You know what I'm saying? And just remembering how Southern University campus was in comparison to the college that I chose to go to, it was night and day. Not to not Southern, but it's like I'm like, damn, like we really don't have any type of resources, or we have lack of.
Again, if I am administration at a HBCU, I'm responsible for that. I'm responsible for it. I'm supposed to have a plan. All with the federal government, then I need to be fundraising. Perhaps if I treated my graduates nicer, they would invest back into the school.
Why? So that's my question. Why is it graduates' job? Like when my university reaches out to me, I was like, no, like buy no me money. You ain't getting nothing from me. I paid my bills are paid. I paid my shit. So why is it people who why is it our job to reinvest in the school when the school gets all of this money? You made me pay thousands of dollars for a piece of paper. Appreciate it. You ain't getting none of my motherfucking money.
Well, again, that's why we gotta read. If you read the life story of Booker T. Washington, Up From Slavery, he talks about how Tuskegee came about. They didn't give him Tuskegee University. They gave him a field. And he went and said, hey, who want to learn? And all the black folks came. And they said, where the building? We gonna build it. Where we gonna sleep? We gonna sleep out here. Where the bricks? Where you get the bricks from? Mr. Charlie told you, build a building. We're gonna dig it out this clay. And they built Tuskegee, knowing they just gonna be there for 4 years. But they built Tuskegee for their kids and grandkids. The most noble man plants a tree whose shade he will never sit under. That's why we put back in it, because we got something from it. And then we give back to keep it there.
So you telling me, D, you willing to give to this same university that your son go to? You willing to give to this university?
No.
My point. You willing to give to the university you just graduated from?
Possibly.
Okay, tell me why.
I have seen and experienced the systematic racism at this particular school. Not only did I go here, I've worked here. I no longer believe in its structure. That doesn't mean that it has good, because it's not just black folks that go here. So it's good for a lot of people. it has a history of Klan involvement. It has a history of Native oppression. And it has a history of ignoring it in modern day. They just changed the name within the last 4 years of the administration building, the guy who had the KKK on this campus. And they did not recognize that something perhaps needs to be done to balance the inequities that have been traditionally done to black people on this campus, American black people. There are a lot of international black people, African and Jamaican, but American black folks, they haven't. They recognize with a big stone in the middle of the campus that this university is on stolen American land and know the exact tribe in which it was stolen from. But they make one scholarship that all Native people got to compete for. When it should have said, we recognize that this was taken from this particular tribe, nobody from that tribe that can show that their blood comes from that tribe, they don't have to pay to go here. Because we didn't have this university here for over 100 years. So we're not into, so I believe in protest. I believe in accountability. And this university does not have the type of reputation or history that I would financially support.
Joe, would you give back to your school that you graduated from?
No.
Why?
I ain't got no money. What you mean? If I had some money, I might. I ain't got no money.
Okay, so being as though I went to a PWI, in which I had the choice and option to go to Southern University, I chose not to. I chose to go to a PWI, which I don't regret because the books was included, and I was looking out for me at the time. I couldn't afford that shit. So books was included at the other school. So I was like, well, this financially makes more sense. But would I give back to my university? No. That's just my personal opinion. I don't feel like a lot of these degrees are producing the type of salaries that will be, I guess, equitable to what
Can't you give to a certain department?
Why would I care?
You just said this is the department that the black folks need to be in, make 6 figures, so put the money in there so we can get some people getting their money up.
My money ain't up enough for me to give. You get them? So what I'm saying is
We know
my
your
degree.
We know your money, right?
My degree, in which I chose, I think they should have did a better job as far as educating us, but that's still partially my fault. My degree, in my personal opinion, it does not pay well enough for me to feel as though I need to give something back. So, like, let's say if I went to school for, what a lot of the Indian kids go to school for, and I come out and I'm making $200,000, why not? And it probably wouldn't be to that school. Honestly, it would probably be to a school like Southern, although I didn't go there. Mm-hmm. It's because one day my niece, my nephew, somebody will have somebody in my line will probably go. But would I give to a PWI? No. I would mostly give to a funded school. But y'all selling us on degrees that's not necessarily shit. Well, we come out of school, we in debt. Half of us can't find great jobs.
Remember, at one time the state universities were free. Mm-hmm. So if I were not a victim of the debt-based financial structure of universities today, perhaps giving would be higher.
Yeah.
But if I'm sending you out, the majority of people, we're not talking about the people who can pay for Harvard or the people who can pay for Princeton, pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, oh, my kid's going in here, here's $80,000 for this semester.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about people leaving college in debt for financial aid. I can't give you no money. I'm trying to get out of the debt you put me in.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we got to pay to live in a country we were born in?
That's a good question. But back to what you were saying, okay, Joe, if you didn't have student loans, would you give to your university?
Probably not.
If you didn't have student
But
loans.
the reason why I don't, because they make billions off of football.
Okay.
They don't even
Especially him being a football player, they made billions off
all
of
of
him.
me, like,
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't get a scholarship, so
Right.
nah.
Yeah.
But even then, exactly. Not only did you not get a scholarship, you sharpened the people who they were making billions off of. So, and that's what I'm saying. The economic structure is just, it's not like it used to be. If I got the opportunity to go to college and all I had to do was go and do well, and then I was able to take that knowledge and do anything, yeah, it would make sense for me to give a portion back, even if it's a small portion. Even if I paid $50 a month to support Mark Lamont Hill's channel.
$50 a month?
You saw Joe
I
face.
was like, what?
So,
50?
but
What
that's
now?
that's because I believe in what he's doing. Right now sometimes, what did my mother used to say? It basically means the better you know somebody, the less you like them. As of right now, my university that I got my doctorate from, I would give to their university, but working for universities for so long, I know to give it time and become more familiar with it before I make that assessment that, yeah, this is a university, especially in the Deep South, especially in the state of Texas. Before I make a personal investment, I really have to learn familiarity breeds contempt. That's what my mother used to say. The better you know somebody, the less you like them. When I first got here at UTA, it was amazing. You know, I loved it here.
You loved it.
I loved everything about it. And then toward the end of my master's degree, I started seeing some things that just look like what because I'm from Indiana, so I know when I see what I'm seeing, but I'm going, nah, not y'all. We've been cool for 3 years. And then I went to go talk to a brother that used to work here and was like, look at this, look at this, look at this. Really? And he held a high position here twice. And somebody told me, because I went to a professor to get my game up, because I was thinking the reason why I not only was being rejected to the PhD program, I was being discouraged to even apply. But I just finished your master's degree with a 3.82. How is it I'm not even worthy to get in on academic probation? You're not even gonna give me a shot? You telling me don't. I'm telling you I won't vote for you. I'm one of the votes. So I go to get my game up, and I go to a professor on campus, and they're like, maybe you need to go talk to him. Why would I go talk to him? Go to Dallas and talk to him. And I go to Dallas, and homie's like, this is what's going on behind the scenes in the department you're in. So it's what it looked like. So, and then I started working here, and the George Floyd stuff happened, and then you just see all of the structural biases and mindsets of how people are explaining things away, and you're like, okay, this is all over this university. Okay, now I know where I am. Take due notice, govern yourself accordingly. So when I was blessed to not be accepted here, and the universe took me to where I was graduated from ultimately. I don't know, I'm still in Texas, so I'm not going to make any jumps. And that department and those particular professors were good to me. But they have a history much different from what's going on now. So now, has the whole university changed like that particular department or those particular professors? I don't know. I went through that program relatively quickly. It took me 2 years and 1 semester to finish the doctorate program. It's supposed to take 7. If I've been there the whole 7, would I have the same feeling? I don't know. So I find it difficult for universities to have the expectation of people that they are purposely putting into debt to ask them for money or even expect them for money.
I know they done sent me plenty of emails. Nah, you good, partner. So as long as I got student loans, you might have would have got a little
I felt bad because this girl called me and she was a cousin of one of my teammates. So I was trying to be nice about it. And then she was like, "Can you donate like $500?" I was like, "Nah, I ain't got it right now." You know what I'm saying? "Can you donate $300?" I was like, "Look, I ain't got no money right now." To the school. And she was like, "Hey, can you donate?" I hang up on her. I was like, "Bro, you done went down 5, 4, 3. You done put me in a position where I had to hang up on you. I told you I had no money." I felt bad.
Yeah.
Save your money.